Hi everyone, my name is Sadie and I'm gonna be presenting you about Mexico City. In this presentation, we're gonna cover some topics including geography, transportation, weather, some fun facts, history, attractions, food, and holidays. First, geography. Mexico is a part of North America and it's located right below the United States. Um, Actually, some of the states in the lower states of the US used to be part of Mexico, like Florida and Texas. Mexico City is the capital and it's located around the center of the country. And it is a home to over 21 million people. It's also one of the biggest cities in the whole world. Transportation. There are many ways that you can get around in Mexico City, and a flight from Toronto, Canada, is about 5 hours and 30 minutes. Once you're there, you can take different types of transportation around the city, like buses, subway lines, taxis, and others. Um, I think that in the if you're downtown, it's better to use buses because or the subway because usually there's a lot of traffic, and with taxis it would be more expensive. But obviously, you can choose whatever you want, and you'll get around easily. Weather. The weather in Mexico City is warm during the day and cold during the nights. Also, there's a dry season and rain season in the summer. The winter is dry. The highest temperature normally is about 25 degrees Celsius, while the lowest is 13 degrees Celsius. And the weather should not interfere with your activities because most of the time it's really nice unless you're traveling around May when the rain is really heavy and it rains all the time. So just have that in mind. Fun fact. Mexico City, as I said before, is one of the most populated cities in the world. It also is one of the cities with the most museums, having a total of 186 museums. The main square is 11.5 acres, and it's one of the biggest in the world. And also, you can witness the migration of the monarch butterflies from Canada to Mexico, and it's really beautiful. History and main attractions. Let's start with some of the history. Mexico has a long history, and we couldn't talk about all that has happened in just one presentation. So I'm just gonna divide it into three periods, which are the most important. First, pre-colonialism. During this period, many different indigenous groups lived in Mexico. Each had their own traditions and languages, and they are still represented today, like the Aztecs, the Mayans. So there's a lot of history in that regard. Next, the post-colonialism. This period is after Mexico was invaded by Spain, and many changes happened during this time. The government was ruled by the Spanish monarchy, and there were many constructions and many things happened during this period. Next and last, the independence. It was led by the priest Miguel Hidalgo, and it started in September the 16th of 1810 and lasted 11 years. Later on, Mexico would also have a revolution, but the independence is more important and more recognized worldwide, I think. Now, some attractions. The first one is the Paseo de la Reforma. This is one of the main avenues in Mexico City. It was built in 1860 and is inspired by European boulevards such as the Champs-Élysées in France. Here are located some sculptures and important monuments like the Independence Angel and many others. Next, the Chapultepec Castle. The Chapultepec comes from the Nahuatl and it means hill of the grasshopper. This castle was built during the Viceroyalty in the post-colonial period. It was a summer house for the Viceroy and served many purposes in history, including a military training house and many others. But in the present day, it is a museum. Along with the Iturbide Palace, this is the only royal house in North America. In the Chapultepec Castle, you can also go around the forest and explore. It's a park, so you can go. And there's also a zoo, so you can do a lot of things in here in the same place. Now, Xochimilco. Xochimilco is the home of the axolotl, and it's an animal that is endemic to Mexico, specifically this part. And Xochimilco is really popular, and many people visit it. And here you can ride a trajinera, which is a boat, and just go around and enjoy a mariachi music and eat food, and also look at the chinampas. These are artificial islands that were built by the Mexicas for agriculture. And in fact, in the modern day, Mexico still plants a lot of flowers in Xochimilco, and they export it to other countries. Now, the Zócalo. The Zócalo is the main square of Mexico City, and it used to be the main square of the Aztec city Tenochtitlan before colonization. Now is one of the main attractions, and it has the cathedral, the national palace, and nearby the Templo Mayor, which are ancient ruins of the Aztec. Some people also call the Zócalo the square of the three cultures because you can see like a collision of the three main periods of time in Mexican history because you can see the ancient ruins, which represent the pre-colonization. You can also see a palace of the viceroyalty and the cathedral and even modern elements. So it's really beautiful. And here are some closer pictures of what it looks like, each of those three things. Now, as I said before, Mexico City also has a lot of museums to visit, but I decided to include these three. The Museum of Anthropology and History. This museum is one of the biggest ones. I bet you can travel the whole museum in just one day. It would take a long, a lot more time. And there are really interesting parts about Mexican history and many things. Next is the Blue House, which is Frida Kahlo's museum. It used to be her house, and you can see her paintings and even her furniture, I believe, and many things. And next, the Palace of Fine Arts. This is actually an opera house, and but inside you can see some murals by famous painters, and it's really beautiful just to look at the building, and even inside everything is decorated, so it's really nice. Now we're gonna talk about food. We all know Mexican food is famous. First, I decided to include El Mercado de Coyoacán. This is a market and you can find souvenirs, art, and many things, but most importantly, you can buy a lot of food and candies. This market has been around since 1921 and you can find a lot of cheap food and it's really good. My personal favorite is the tostadas of Coyoacán. It's like a tortilla but fried, and on top you put different ingredients, and it's really nice. Also, the Antigua Hacienda de Tlalpan. This was built in 1837, and it is a place with great ambientation, beautiful gardens, and there's a wide menu. This is a formal restaurant, and it's a great place to eat new dishes. Its menu includes things such as shrimps, avocado, tortilla soup, and many other things. Now, La Polar. This is a birria restaurant. Birria is a traditional Mexican dish, which is lamb cooked in a special sauce and in a way that it tastes like stew. And here you can also enjoy music and different beverages. Next, tacos chupacabras. This is a classic. And here you can eat tacos and they're really good and tasty. And finally, you can try any street food. I promise there are many places in Mexico where you can buy street food and it's really cheap and most of the time it tastes really good. Now, celebrations and holidays. Let's start with Dia de Muertos. Dia de Muertos is celebrated in the 1st and 2nd of November. This day is probably the most famous. There's even movies dedicated to it. And it serves the purpose of remembering those who have passed away. But it is not a sad celebration because you're remembering with happiness and with what they used to do. Some of the things that we do is make the foods that they used to like and put them in an ofrenda with their pictures on them. And it is a great way of remembering our loved ones who have passed away. Also, this day, we also do other things like serving candy and writing calaveritas, which are funny poems to death, but they are like making fun of it because the Mexican is really likes to make fun of it and laugh at bad situations. So that's what we do. Next is the Independence Day. Independence Day is also very important and it's celebrated on the 16th of September with a parade in the Zócalo. It is decorated and many families also cook traditional Mexican food to celebrate the occasion. And this day, the president would go on top of the National Palace and he would scream, Viva Mexico, like what they did when the independence just started. And lastly, Christmas. We also celebrate Christmas, but in Mexico, Christmas is really special because we do a lot of celebrations, and we start since the 12th of December to the 6th of January. And we can do celebrations with the family, and we break piñatas and also cook a lot of foods. And it is a really beautiful celebration. And you can also see the fireworks on Christmas Day. And it's really beautiful and warm. Would you like to visit Mexico City someday? That was all. Thank you for listening and being here.